Joining us right now to weigh in, Senior Fellow at the London Center for Policy Research, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer.
Hey,
good to see you, Colonel. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How do you see this confirmation process for Wray taking place? Is this going to be an easy confirmation process or more obstruction?
I see it as continued obstruction. I don't think you could have nominated the Pope and there'd be issues, because if it was nominated by the President. There's no upside to anything going on right now here in Washington. And I've been here a long time, Maria, and I've seen a lot of vitriol, and it's as bad as it's ever been. And frankly, I don't know what exactly the strategy is for getting him through his confirmation. From everything I've read about him, the people I've talked to, he's a credible man. He's a great record. But I think any little thing they can find to pick at him, they're going to try to find, they're going to try to use. And you can see people like Tim Kaine are going to be up there saying, and Chuck Schumer saying really nasty things about him, no matter how good he is.
Well, wait a second. I mean, do you think voters are going to hold these guys accountable for stopping an agenda that voters voted for in November?
No, I hope voters do exactly that, Maria.
Yeah.
I think when we come up to the midterms, I hope people will remember, and this is one of the things I've been talking to folks behind the scenes, you need to start building a log of all these obstructionist things which have been done to essentially hold back the president. And, I was on another network yesterday where I was trying to defend and discuss certain issues, and I was very vigorously attacked over an emotion. And so the fact that you have the other side using emotional issues as their driving force should be a big indicator that they are not the adults in the room, and the adults in the room should be taking note, keeping a good log of what's going on, why the other side is doing this, and presenting it to the voters for them to decide again in 2018.
Colonel, I'm with you on this. I mean, I got in an argument with somebody from another network offline about, they said they stole the election. I was like, well, the only way that this administration could have stole the election is that they colluded with Donna Brazile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and the DNC. That's the only way they could have stolen this election to put Hillary Clinton up. But I think the biggest thing that we need to see come from today is that this nominee needs to say that he wants the FBI to remain independent, as well as not comment on ongoing investigations. That was one of the biggest things that impacted this election. When the FBI shows that they're going to comment about something ongoing and give preferential treatment, whether it has to do with interview times, and start commenting on, I think that's the biggest thing that needs to be focused on today. What is your take on the impartiality of the FBI, as well as commenting on ongoing
Great
investigations?
question. Well, look, I've been undercover with the FBI twice during my time as an operative. I have great respect for the men and women who work in the trenches. I have no respect at this time for the leadership, because I think you have a corrosive atmosphere that James Comey has created. And I've talked to my friends who are the senior leaders over there who are very much concerned about this. The morale has been broken. So I think we have to have someone who comes in and is impartial. And let me be clear on this, how some of the things that really hurt the FBI. James Comey actually took that Steele dossier that was created by opposition research. He used that as fact and proliferated that and gave it strength. So things like that, complete departures from normal procedure, where you have the leader taking a political position, cannot be accepted. And I think this is one of the things which has just completely killed the morale, because people on the inside do take an oath of office. They take that oath very seriously. And when you see senior leaders politicizing your work, it becomes very difficult to deal with.
Colonel, it's Mike Murphy.
Hey, Mike.
Just looking at the process today as it goes down, I'm looking at this wondering, a lot of candidates might actually say, I want no part of this. I don't want to go up and be torn apart by one side or the other. So you would hope both sides could look at this and say, let's come together so that we can actually get the top candidates, because that is going to help the entire country, whether you're a Republican or Democrat. But this now, I would think people, more and more qualified people, are going to just say, I'm not interested in the position, or any position for that matter.
Oh, that happened here. Look, one of the best qualified people I thought was Trey Gowdy, a former prosecutor, congressman, and he said exactly what you said. Look, I just don't feel the need to have myself walking over glass for the purposes of trying to get through. I'll stay where I'm at. And look, I would have liked to seen someone nominated with more operational experience. I think one of the things notable about the FBI is that I don't think its mission is completely clear in this post 9/11 environment. They're searching for an identity between between counterterrorism, essentially radicalism, criminal, both white collar and very severe criminals. I don't know if they have actually been able to figure out where they're going. So this is where I would have liked that. With that said, both sides need to understand we need to have someone qualified to lead the agency in a very difficult time.
Yeah, all amidst a new document dump. I mean, this Wray's testimony comes amid a new FBI document dump related to the agency's investigation into Hillary Clinton's mishandling of highly classified materials. So Fox News is reporting that 42 pages have painted a picture of a serious but flawed investigation. Flawed investigation hindered by a lack of cooperation. Do senators raise the issue with Wray today, or is that not important?
Well, I hope the Republican senators absolutely bring that up because it is valid. Look, that whole investigation, the two investigations that I think were incomplete based on political interference from DOJ, from Loretta Lynch, we need to reopen the server investigation. Look, Maria, you and I both know if I did something like that as an operative, I'd be in jail right now, hoping for probation. And on the issue of the Clinton Global Initiative, pay to play. I mean, my goodness sake, we're constantly looking on the left's looking for the collusion between the Russians and Trump. You have multiple collusion points with the Clinton administration and all these other nations. So it's kind of like, how is it you don't see this elephant in the room? You need to go investigate. So I'd like to believe that you will have at least some level of clarity presenting with the facts, saying Ms. Clinton needs to be investigated no matter how you feel about her losing the election. The facts are the facts, and the facts may be inconvenient, but they need to be investigated.
Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to say, I love the point that you brought up about the obstructionism on the left and coming from the Democrats. I think the American people aren't stupid, and I think a hearing like this is probably going to help highlight just how biased they are, whether it's that they don't want to, the Democrats don't want to look at what Hillary Clinton is doing, or whether it's the obstruction and the picking apart of this candidate who seems to be fairly well qualified.
Right. Well, I think that's the thing. Again, the press, the media, which is able to be objective, needs to point out the flaws and, frankly, the sedition in some ways of the left. It's one thing to have a candidate and you have him questioned within the context of his decisions of the past. It's another thing to put him up against a political straw man and say, well, you know, you are somehow not qualified because you don't actually answer a hypothetical question the way we want you to answer it. And that's what I saw in the Gorsuch hearings. That's what I've seen in other hearings where they will give you a straw man, they'll ask questions about the straw man, and if they don't like your answer, well, you're not qualified. That's completely unfair, and I'd like to believe the American people are going to watch this if they try to do it today and make a judgment for themselves of what's best for the nation.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that the left is trying to stop Donald Trump at every turn, and the mainstream media is right there driving the car.
Right there.